Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Movement Collective kickoff call. So I'm going to make this pretty short. We're just going to go over basically what this community, what this group is for, and how it can help you, whether you're somebody who's trying to help yourself, or if you have patients or clients that you are trying to help. So at the core of this, so I'm going to share my screen here. Again, it's for anybody who has a painful issue or a mobility issue or a strength issue, any sort of physical issue that you want to improve, or if you want to understand my thought process to simplify how I help others with these types of issues. So the foundational course or program or framework that I use is my assess and address method. So basically what this is it's helping you to establish what your main problem is and what your main goal is. Now, it doesn't have to be just one thing, it could be a few things. But the problem is a lot of times people get too caught up in what they're dealing with and they don't know how to prioritize what actually is going to work. Think about in the age that we live in, the information age, there's so much information online that it can be super confusing to know what actually is going to help, what's going to waste your time, what actually might make things worse. Because people, when they make social media posts or when they make blog posts or they're trying to provide content to help people, even myself, the stuff that I put online, a lot of times people will say, hey, do this to help this thing. I try to be more nuanced about that in the content that I make, but a lot of it will basically make you feel like if you have this issue, this will help you no matter what. And in reality, it's not that simple. You have to pick exercises and have a plan that fits you as an individual, which on paper sounds very obvious. But I have too many people that reach out to me saying, well, I've tried these things for or X exercises for my X issue, and that doesn't help me at all. And so I don't know what's going on. There might be something a lot worse going on, or this made my problem worse. So maybe I'm a lot worse off than I thought. When in reality, you're just choosing exercise examples that you see online that aren't actually specifically tailored to you. So with this method, the idea is I'm going to help you find, first of all, establish what your main problem is and what your main goal is, and try to prioritize that. Don't try to do so many things at once, because if you're trying to put all your eggs in different baskets, it's not going to be helpful. You want to put them all in the same basket to solve the main thing that is causing the biggest issue in your life. Whatever you're trying to solve, you want to focus on that thing or those couple of things. Then once that's solved, you can move on to other things. And many times when you solve the main issue, it actually helps you so that those other issues that were kind of a smaller deal, but still important and significant, actually get better and go away. Not always, but that can happen too. So once you establish that, the idea is I want you to share your relevant history. Now, if I was working with somebody, or when I am working with somebody one-on-one, I ask a lot more questions. However, when I was putting together this method, I realized there are certain questions that will elicit the best responses, that will give me the most information. If I gave you guys 50 questions to fill out, yes, some of you would do it, but it would just take too long and it wouldn't really be very efficient. So if I have follow-up questions, I will ask you those follow-up questions. But many times in asking these main questions, you guys will answer the other questions that I might ask on a one-on-one exam. So I try to keep that pretty streamlined. Once I get that information, and again, if I do need to make follow-up questions, I will ask you within the community. And then after I get the information that I feel like I need to have you perform specific tests, I will tell you which tests to perform within my self-assessment community. Classroom, so you have all these exercise libraries here, which are growing, but you also have self-assessments. So you can see here, they are broken down by different regions of the body, whether we're looking at range of motion, we're looking at strength, we're looking at motor control, which is basically like coordination, how your quality of movement is. So in all of these videos, I basically walk you through how to perform the test, how to record yourself, and how to grade yourself. So, for example, if we go to this right here, shoulder flexion, I have the volume off, but I do talk you through it. And so this is me performing shoulder flexion range of motion on the ground. I will talk you through what you're supposed to be feeling, how to grade yourself, and then ideally you record yourself so you can send them in when you send your results back so I can take a look at them too and give you feedback and have an idea of what exercises would be appropriate for you. But I understand not everybody wants to record every single test they do. If I feel like the information you gave me isn't sufficient, I probably will ask you to send me a video. But if I feel like the information you gave me is sufficient, then we don't need to send that in. So after we get that information, then I will put together a custom exercise plan for you. Again, you guys just saw that in addition to the self-assessment video library, there's the exercise library. And so I will point you to which exercise library to go to and which exercise library exercises to do within the library. And then I will also tell you not just the exercises to do, but I will tell you how many reps you should do, how many sets, how often, so on and so forth. I will tell you what I feel like is optimal, but again, the most efficient. So you're not wasting time, you're not doing too much, but you're also doing the amount that I feel like is going to give you the best result. Now, don't be afraid to reach back out and say, you know, I feel like with my schedule, these are too many exercises. I'll try to keep them to like 3 to 5 at the most. I don't try to give too many. I try to do just what's going to target your issue. But if you feel like the amount of reps or sets or all those things aren't going to work, or you're trying to figure out how you're going to fit it in your schedule, if you're a really busy person, then I will help you through that as well. But usually it's not an issue. So once we do that, you will send me your results after you've been doing that for however many weeks. I usually will tell you, hey, I want you to do this for this many weeks, and then I want you to basically fill out a report of how your progress is going. Now, if you've been following me at all for any length of time, you know that this stuff can take a really long time to get better in some cases, but you should be noticing improvements within sometimes one session or a few sessions or a couple weeks, depending on the case. So it's unrealistic to think that I'm going to give you 2 exercises that's going to immediately solve your problem. Usually it requires you to let me know how things are going, what you're still having issues with, what you're improving with. And then once you let me know that information, I will put together other tests that I want you to perform, maybe to reassess tests you've done before or new tests based on new issues or how you're progressing if there's other things that are coming up that are more relevant to look at. And then I'll update your plan at that point. But the idea is this is individualized to you. So it's not like I'm just giving you cookie cutter exercises based on what you're feeling. And we will talk, I'll make new videos going through examples from people that give me permission to. I mean, a lot of it's going to be public within the group, but I will be going through the problem-solving process and how I got to certain exercises that I got to and why. So I'm going to explain my thinking process so it can improve your reasoning. Again, if you are a professional, or even if you're somebody who has a similar case, it might help you understand it on a more deeper level. So then once we get to the point where the problem is solved and you achieve your goal, and it doesn't have to be when you achieve your goal, but it could be at any point in the process that you are wanting to share your progress. You can share your progress within the community section in the wins column. So you can talk about improvements that you're making. You can talk about if you've completed your goal, you can talk about it there and what you learned from it. But this is not only for you, because community will comment on that, encourage you, and it's a accountability tool for you. But also, again, it's going to help others kind of see that it's possible. If they're not sure if they're actually going to be helped, as this grows, they will see that, hey, it actually is possible, and it will influence more people to have a better mindset and work through this. And you guys can do this together. So just to kind of go back here, and I forgot to share this earlier, was if you go to the community section at the top here, you have these different sections. So all basically is all of them in one thread. But you all want to start, when you join the group, you want to start in the start here. This is where you introduce yourself. These are going to be pinned for you. For me, they're down here. But basically, you want to read through these start here post first. It'll tell you basically how to contribute, to introduce yourself, if you do have questions about certain things that aren't addressed in any specific courses, you can actually search and it will look through all of the threads of answers that I've given other people in the past, and you might find your answer. And again, the longer that this goes on, for the longer that we're in this group, this is just going to keep building and building and building. So it's going to be a wealth of information. And then you can actually, if you tell your friends and you refer your friends, you also do get a discount on the group. So make sure you take a look at that. Then, if you are interested in building your custom movement profile and getting help for your specific program, then you go to the second Start Here post, and that will talk you through how to do that. I'm not going to go through all that right now, but you guys can see that it's there, and you can utilize that. Okay. Okay, so other things to make sure that we're talking about, I mentioned this earlier, is you can share your videos for feedback. This doesn't have to be just exercises that I've given you. If you are doing your own training program or workouts and you're having an issue and you're not quite sure if your technique is okay or you have questions about that, you can go to the form check section up here. You go to the community tab, you go to form checks, and you can go to the form check section, and this post explains how to do that. It explains, like, ideally how you should film it, and you're going to copy and paste this in and let me know, like, what is going on, what you're having trouble with, and I can help you through that. So again, that could be related to your routine that I've given you, but it could be to any routine or exercise program that you're going through already. And general discussion can be anything that you have questions about. Self-assessments are when I do ask you to fill out self-assessment videos, it should be in this section. It's okay if you put it in the wrong section, but ideally it should be in this self-assessment section. Okay. So another really valuable part of this is that we are going to be doing a weekly question and answer every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Mountain Time, because that's where I'm at in Colorado, so Mountain Time. I understand a lot of you guys won't be able to join the calls live because of wherever you're living or whatever you got going on, but they will be recorded so you can learn from them later. And the other cool thing is it's not going to be just a video that you watch and you have no idea what's in it. I will go through it and I will outline the main discussion points. So if you have certain things that you find valuable and you go, oh, they talk about this in that video, I want to check that out, then you know that's going to be valuable for you. Obviously, if you look at the discussion points and you're like, that's not really anything that I'm interested in, you don't have to go back to it, or you don't have to look at it. So that way again, it's building this library of knowledge and learning through this process. So on those calls, I might have things that I want to bring up that I find interesting and just talk about for a little while and rant, but it's kind of like a hangout session where we can all talk about what's going on, what questions we have, maybe issues with whatever we're dealing with in our own training, our own clients, our own patients. Anything that you have questions about, we will talk about them. So it's really valuable in that case. And I will also, they're not scheduled right now, but if I feel like it's valuable to have a live call about a specific topic that's just that specific topic, I will put that in the calendar as well. And you guys can put that on your calendar so you can be aware of it when it comes up. And those will be recorded as well. Okay, we're also going to be having case study breakdowns. So this is going to be shared with permission, of course. I'm not just going to share people's case studies in detail if they don't feel comfortable with that. Of course, a lot of this is going to be public in the group as we all encourage each other, as we all work towards our goals or whatever we're trying to learn. But I think it is valuable to kind of understand how I get to the points that I get to in my thought process and my reasoning, and having you guys learn from that. So the idea is we're trying to learn how to simplify the complex. That's huge. Too many people in the fitness and rehab industry make things way too complex. And it's not that it's not difficult to learn this stuff. It's not that it's not difficult. It's just that learning how to simplify things and really everything in life, but especially in this kind of stuff, is very important. And identifying what actually matters. We talked about that earlier. So just cutting through that noise, cutting through all the things you've seen online that tell you if you don't do this, this is going to happen, or this problem will be solved with this one trick. And as many of you know, especially if you're in this group, that's not the case. It needs to be, you need to understand what actually matters and not waste your time on things that don't. Okay, so again, we already talked about the exercise library. It is still growing. Right now, I haven't even finished all the mobility exercises that I have, but there is a limit on how many exercises I can have in each section. That's why there's 4 sections right now. Basically, there's going to be a upper spine mobility section, which is cervical spine, like your neck, to your thoracic spine. And then there's going to be a lower body spine mobility section. So there's 2 spine mobility sections. And then there's basically an upper body mobility and lower body mobility, which is basically like your extremities. So like your shoulder, elbow, wrist, and all the mobility exercises that you can do for those. Again, those aren't even finished, but I had to split it up into different sections because there's a limit on how many that I can actually have in there. But I'm also going to have sections, and it's going to be growing for strength, coordination, stability, plyometrics, anything you can think of. And that's going to be a work in progress because there's so many that I have made in the past, and it takes a while to upload it. So bear with me as I put that in there. As a side note, if I'm putting together an exercise program for you and it's not available within the exercise library, that's totally fine. I have most of the videos uploaded on YouTube that I can send you the direct link to YouTube. Now, when I say they're on YouTube, they're not public, they're private. They're really exercises for my own personal clients that have been uploaded there over the years, but I can send those to you until they are officially uploaded into the exercise library. And then once they are, then you guys will have access to them in there. But don't worry if it's not in the exercise library, doesn't mean that I'm not going to be able to provide it for you. Again, these are broken down into whatever body region that you need help with. So we already talked about the different sections in this is the upper spine mobility. So upper cervical flexion, upper cervical rotation, and so on and so forth. And for most of them, not all of them, you will have this setup, movement, and many times tips on there that will tell you little tips to be aware of as you're performing it. Not all the videos, but many of the videos have me doing voiceovers, or there is text on the video with arrows. The idea is just to help you perform it in the way that will actually achieve the desired result. It's not just me putting a video on there and you just have to figure it out. It's helping you understand, okay, how do I set this up? How do I do this correctly? Whether that's me talking in the video, the text in the video, or the text underneath like I have on here. And then again, the self-assessment library is also still growing. That is more complete than the exercise library. The exercise library is probably going to take me months to complete, but again, it's going to be constantly growing. And again, this is to identify the main issues that need to be addressed. Okay. A few other things. Make sure that you guys see that there's a calendar tab. You can see here that every Wednesday we have this weekly question and answer. And basically for the foreseeable future, it's every Wednesday at 12. If that ever changes, then I will let you know. On this map, now don't freak out when you guys see this. This map is basically showing the general location of where everybody is located. So you can kind of see where members are. It's not showing your exact location. It just basically shows generally where you are. So if you click on this one, it shows me. It shows my level, which is basically how much I interacted within the community. Of course, I will probably be one of the main ones because this is my community. And then it will give a little bit of a background bio information. Leaderboards. This basically just shows how much people have interacted and how much they have contributed to the community. I plan on having challenges over time where you can actually win prizes, whether it's a month or a year or several months of free access, discounted rate, whether it's equipment, things like that, gift cards, as the community grows. And it's not just going to be just based on your level, it's going to be on whatever I find appropriate based on the challenge and what it is. But these levels do play into that because it does show how much you've been engaged. the last thing I wanted to mention on here, and this is not in the community yet, is that in the classroom, it's not just going to be these exercise libraries and the self-assessment library. I'm actually going to be having courses within the Movement Collective that I'm building over time. Now, I already have ideas of courses that I want to make, and I've talked about that before in some posts that I've made. I can see if I have it on here, show you guys. So these are some of the courses that I'm planning on putting into the community. So talking about functional anatomy, biomechanics, strength conditioning, and all the things mentioned there. Those are my ideas and things that I'm going to build out. But the value of having this community and seeing what you guys have questions about, and especially those weekly question and answer calls, is I'm going to see trends of things that you guys want. And there's no way for me to know. I think that I know what you guys want, but I won't really know 100% until we start interacting more and I start answering your questions and I start seeing your questions, and then I can build courses from those. So again, this is what I have planned, but that can definitely grow over time, and it will grow over time, and we'll have other things that aren't listed here as well. So if you guys have any questions, you can leave them underneath this post after you watch this or right now, and I will be happy to answer those when the time comes, when I see those. Okay, so welcome to the Movement Collective. I hope you're excited to be here. I'm excited to have you here, and I'm excited to grow together.